The Mysterious Old Radio Listening Society podcast.
Welcome to the Mysterious Old Radio Listening Society, a podcast dedicated to suspense, crime, and horror stories from the golden age of radio. I'm Eric.
I'm Tim.
And I'm Joshua.
We love mysterious old-time radio stories, but do they stand the test of time? That's what we're here to find out.
Today, we present a request from our Patreon supporter, Mark. Bathysphere from Lights Out.
Lights Out was a horror series created by writer Willis Cooper in 1934 and originally broadcast on Chicago area NBC station WENR. It was on Wednesday nights at midnight. Cooper's late-night Grand Guignol was a local hit, and in April of 1935, NBC began broadcasting it nationally, growing the program's fan base coast to coast.
After terrifying listeners for more than a year, Willis Cooper left Lights Out to pursue a career in Hollywood. His credits include several films in the Mr. Moto series starring Peter Lorre, as well as the third installment in the Universal Studios Frankenstein series, Son of Frankenstein. Cooper eventually returned to radio, where he created another iconic anthology series, Quiet Please.
After Cooper's departure, NBC hired a young writer-director named Arch Oboler to take over Lights Out. Oboler's bold story choices and innovative production techniques took the program to new heights of popularity. Lights Out ended in 1938, but the show was revived several times during the 1940s. These later series are the source of most of today's surviving Lights Out recordings, including the performance you're about to hear.
The title Bathysphere comes from a deep-sea submersible designed in the late 1920s by engineer Otis Barton and used by naturalist William Beebe for pioneering ocean exploration. Made of cast steel with fused quartz windows, it was an unpowered spherical vessel lowered into the sea by a cable. In 1934, Beebe and Barton descended to a record depth of 3,028 feet off of Nonsuch Island, Bermuda, making some of the first direct observations of deep-sea life.
And now, let's listen to Bathysphere, first performed in 1939 on the series Arch Oboler's Plays and produced again for Lights Out, June 22nd, 1943.
It's late at night, and a chill has set in. You're alone, and the only light you see is coming from an antique radio. Listen to the sounds coming from the speaker. Listen to the music, and listen to the voices.
Arch Oboler's Lights Out, everybody.
This is Arch Oboler bringing you another in our series of stories of the unusual. And once again we caution you, these Lights Out stories are definitely not for the timid soul. So we tell you calmly and very sincerely, if you frighten easily, turn off your radio now. November of 1939. Astronomically, that isn't even a blink in the eye of the universe, but it's a very long time measured in the length of our own very ephemeral lives. On that day, I aired our next story. Remember that date, 1939. A lot of heartbeats before we went to war against the madness of Adolf Hitler and his friend Benito. Listen to Bathysphere.
The sea is very quiet.
Yes, Your Excellency.
Will it be very quiet under the water?
No motion, Your Excellency.
I'm sure it'll all be very amusing.
I hope so, sir. The captain ought to have everything ready by now, sir. If you'll excuse me now, Your Excellency, I'll go see.
No, just a moment, Doctor.
Yes, Your Excellency?
You're much too impatient, my dear young friend. One of the great joys of an experience is to savor it before it happens. Yes, stay and talk to me.
As you say, Your Excellency.
How far under will we have to go to break the record?
Over half a mile.
How far's the bottom?
Just over the record mark.
Deeper than any man's ever gone. It'll all be very amusing. Suddenly the wind's changed.
Always at this hour of the day, Your Excellency. It's time to go.
I assure you that the sea will wait for us.
But I am the thought that...
Don't think so much, my young friend. Thinking is an unnecessary pastime. The emotions are much more dependable. My thoughts tell me that this little excursion under the sea will be quite precarious. On the other hand, my emotions tell me that it will be most interesting and amusing.
Your Excellency, we are ready.
Oh, Captain, you too are impatient, huh?
I don't know what you mean. That is to say...
No, don't splutter. Now, come ahead, my young and impatient friend. We'll go aboard your diving bell and begin our little adventure. Come.
Attention! You see, Your Excellency, we are quite ready.
Well, Doctor, is everything to your satisfaction?
Did you put in an extra oxygen tank, Captain?
Yes, sir. Everything just as you said, Doctor.
The telephone communication being tested?
20 times.
Searchlight?
I assure you everything has been tested, Doctor.
The winch goes smoothly now.
Why, yes, I believe...
I don't want you to believe. I want you to know.
But I assure you...
Go and test it at once.
Yes, Doctor. At once, Doctor.
All right, men. Test number one. Aye, aye, sir. Aye, aye. Test number one. Slowly. Slowly there.
Well, your thoroughness is most commendable, Doctor.
We are going half a mile below the sea, sir. Nothing can be left to chance. The pressures down there are almost beyond imagination.
Yes, I know.
Particularly on this dive, everything must be perfection.
You mean the record?
I mean, Your Excellency, that your life is precious to the state.
Yes. The press of the world has known me only as a record breaker in the world of what they so quaintly term power politics. By nightfall, they'll herald me as a record breaker in the world of science, eh, Doctor?
If all goes well, Your Excellency.
If you have doubts?
No one can predict the ways of the sea.
What are you talking about? You'll be quite apart from the sea inside of the steel ball, this bathysphere, oxygen to breathe, telephones with which to communicate, light with which to see. Why should there be any question?
Question of the human factor, Your Excellency.
If you're as cautious as they said, I like that. I, too, am a cautious man. Oh, yes, indeed. My success has been based upon determining that the unpredictable cannot occur before until I say embark upon my bold adventure. I'm talking quite frankly with you, eh, Doctor? Well, it pleases me to do so. For a few hours, we'll be locked up in that steel ball. There's no reason you shouldn't know a little about your leader, is there?
You honor me, sir.
For example, I know beyond the shadow of a doubt the steel cable which will drop us down beneath the ocean has strength enough to hold 50 such steel spheres as the one we'll be in. I know, too, that you've made 30 such descents towards the floor of the ocean without the slightest misadventure. The men on this cruiser, they're specially trained for the work. And with my life in their hands, I'm sure they'll be particularly careful on this descent. Hey, Doctor?
There is no doubt of it, sir.
All ready now, sir?
Shall we go now, Your Excellency?
Yes, of course.
Careful, Your Excellency. The deck is quite wet here.
Well, thank you, Captain. We'll escort, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Attention!
No formalities. Let the men go about their business so we can get started.
Yes, Your Excellency. At your work, men.
Would you like to get into the bathysphere first, Your Excellency?
No, after you. Quite a small doorway, isn't it? How fortunate we're both small, lean men, Doctor. Lean men. Caesar once said something about that sort, didn't he?
I don't know much about that sort of thing, sir.
No, I didn't imagine, sir. Get in, Doctor. I'll follow you.
Yes, sir.
Head first into the steel ball. Quite without dignity, eh, Captain?
Shall I help you, sir?
No, I'll make it all right. You ready for me, Doctor?
Come ahead, sir. And careful of the bolt end, sir.
Careful.
That's it.
You're all right, sir?
Yes, of course I am. Well, what are we waiting for?
Captain.
Aye, sir?
Close her up.
Aye, sir.
Your ears. Cover your ears, sir.
Huh?
The bolts and wing bolts that hold the door shut, they have to be tightened by hammering with a sledge. Cover your ears, sir. now, so they've done.
But what an infernal din. Wasn't really out of the way.
Hammering is the only definite guarantee of a watertight seal, sir.
My ears.
All well in there, sir?
What's that?
A voice for the telephone, sir. They'll communicate with us from the deck every 3 minutes. If one of us doesn't answer within half a minute, the orders are to pull us up.
An excellent safety precaution. Yes, indeed.
All well in there, Doctor?
All well.
We're moving.
Yes. Lifting us out to the end of the boom, and then down we go. Look, sir, you can see the deck down there through the windows.
Glass, so clear.
Clearest in the world. Quartz glass to stand the pressure.
Letting us down in the water, aren't they?
Yes, sir, in a moment.
We're under.
Yes, I turn the oxygen higher.
The light. So green.
Yes. Soon it'll be blue. Then a darker blue until at around 2,000 feet we'll be in a darkness that goes beyond dark. Complete, eternal night.
Eternal night under the water. How amusing.
All well down there, sir?
All well.
How far down are we?
About 1,100 feet, sir.
It's hard to believe it.
There is almost a quarter of a mile of water crushing down upon us.
The word crushing is most inappropriate at this time, my young friend.
My apologies, Your Excellency.
I've been watching the water. You said it would be at night. It isn't black, it's blue. Strangest blue.
A few more 100 feet and there will be no more color in the water, sir.
The light out there. What?
I can't quite make it out, sir. Perhaps some sort of a luminous plankton.
It's amusing. The fishes carrying along their own electric plants.
The dark's alive with them, sir. Oh, look, sir.
What?
That small flat fish. You see, even his teeth gleam with the luminous mucus. I've caught that sort in the trawls. They can eat organisms as large as they are. Wait, I'll turn on the searchlight and you'll see.
No, never mind. I didn't come under the sea out of any interest in those bits of fish.
As you say, sir.
They'll light up like a train in the dark. Oh, but the portholes of the boat would be a more appropriate figure of speech. Well, seeing one, seeing them all.
All well down there, sir?
All well.
How far down now? Ask him.
How far?
1,350 feet.
Right.
You make good time, huh?
Yes, sir. They lowered us very quickly, sir.
A 6-foot ball containing a very earnest young man and the leader of the state. Headed for... What should we say, Doctor?
A new record, sir.
Is that as far as your imagination carries you?
At the moment, I cannot say, Your Excellency.
Well, perhaps when we reach the end of the cable, we'll discuss life and death very profoundly, eh, my friend? Philosophy under the sea. Yes.
All well down there, sir?
All well.
2,200 feet.
Right.
How much further?
We've 4,000 feet of cable, sir.
You were right. There's a darkness out there now that's darker than any night that man has ever seen. It's amusing.
feet, sir.
Right. Your Excellency,
Yes?
in 10 or 11 minutes we will have broken the record. You keep your eyes so close to that window. Might I ask why?
I thought I saw something out there.
What, sir?
Something huge. It gave off a pale green light and then was gone so quickly I'm not quite sure.
I'll turn on the switch.
No. No, this infernal darkness amuses me. Tell me, Doctor, in your other trips, have you seen anything out there? So vague, huge, you know what I mean.
Yes, sir. Several times.
Well?
Shadowy and indistinct. I couldn't say what, sir.
Can't you guess?
I have no answer.
All well down there?
Oh, tell him yes, and stop annoying us.
All well, and
Captain's compliments, sir. You've reached 3,028 feet, sir.
That was Beebe's record.
Huh?
The old one.
3,030.
Broken it.
3,100.
Doctor, that's quite enough.
3,150.
Doctor, did you hear me? Broken the record on a few feet to spare. Order them to hold us up.
3,200.
Doctor, you out of your head. I gave you orders. Have them pull us up. I've had enough of this. I tell you that What happened?
Happened? We just landed at the bottom of the sea, that's all.
Why did you ignore my orders? I said to go up. What are you doing now? What was that lever that you threw? Answer me.
Yes, I'll answer.
Haven't you forgotten something, Doctor?
What?
To say, sir, Your Excellency.
Excellency? Here at the bottom of the sea?
What's happened to you? All of a sudden you... Now, the excitement of creating a new record, a little too much for you, eh, my young friend? Well, it's understandable. Now signal the ship and have them draw us up. Your little adventure is over. Didn't you hear me? I said signal the ship.
How?
You out of your mind completely. Telephone them. At once, you hear me?
The telephone consists of a carbon transmitter, receiver, actuating battery, and connecting wire. We have no telephone.
Get to one side. Hello. Hello up there. Hello. Hello, answer me. Hello. Hello, blast you, answer me. Hello. But they don't do it.
The wire's torn loose. Would you know how to fix it, Your Excellency?
What? Oh, I see it. Happened when we bumped on the bottom, didn't it? Well, can't you fix it?
I can, but I won't, Your Excellency.
What is this?
It's taken you a great number of moments longer than I expected to ask that question. You notice that I've called you Your Excellency a couple of times, but that was the end of that. From now on, I will call you Your Infernal Excellency.
How amusing.
Still amusing.
Yes.
I don't believe it. You think it's some kind of madness on my part, but you'll do something about it.
Not I, you.
I?
You have an emergency way of signaling. Yes, I know you have. You flashed the searchlight on and off 3 times, and the flow of current registers up on deck. And they know that it's an emergency. I'll go ahead and do it, and perhaps I'll forget your little... shall we call it... joke?
I am quite content to stay down here.
Turn on the searchlight. All right, I'll do it myself.
Why waste your time? You've so little of it left.
What do you mean by that?
The searchlight, too, is disconnected.
Why?
There is no need of it. It will be best to die in the dark.
Die?
Yes.
This is impossible. I investigated you, your record, your family, your associates. Clearest record in the state. You have no reason or the will to kill me. Kill me? It's very funny. A young, empty-headed fool killed me. That's very amusing.
You'll be afraid soon.
Is it possible that you've forgotten the final emergency signal, you fool? Yes, I said signal. The signal of silence. I'll try to telephone the schedule, and when we don't answer, they'll pull us up. Have you forgotten that?
It's been more than 3 minutes since the last signal. If what you say is true, why aren't we moving?
We are. For all I know, we are.
Are we?
The darkness, who can tell if there's enough for motion?
You know we're motionless. As quiet as in a tomb. Appropriate, then. And we'll stay here. I know that.
Huh?
That lever up on the roof that I pulled.
Well?
It threw the end of the steel cable free. Yes, severed the cord between ourselves and the ship and the world.
No.
We're here, Your Infernal Excellency. Down here to stay.
No. You lie. I don't believe you. They'll pull us up. The telephone, here. Here, you up there, listen. Get me up. Get me up. You up there, hear me. It's your leader. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. You hear me? Get me out of here. Out of here. Out of here. Unbelievable.
Oxygen left for another hour, and it takes you 10 precious minutes of your precious life to believe. You do believe you're going to die now, don't you?
But I'm sure nothing could happen. Every detail of the machinery. The record of every member of the crew.
And I was one of those who was perfectly harmless.
Yes, you're past. Since a boy trained in the schools of the state. Your father an official. Why do you do this to me? Why?
Your ego is so great that even now, knowing you're going to die here with me, you're less concerned with death than you are with knowing wherein you failed.
Answer me, why do you do this? You were trained in my schools, brought up to think the way you should think. Who up there made you do this thing, and why?
It will be a slow death. As slow as the death of my country.
Answer me, who and why?
Your mouth will bite for air, and there won't be enough to let you live, and yet there'll be enough so that you won't quite die.
You'll tell me you will.
Your lungs will reach up through your mouth, a breath of air, just another. There won't be another. And as you die, you'll know it.
I want to know one thing. Why do you do this?
Why? Yes, I'll give you your whys. You trained me in your schools. And from morning to night, what went into my head was only what you decreed was right and proper for a good citizen of your infernal state to know. Yes, you crammed my head full. But there's one place you and your books and your speeches couldn't reach. My heart.
Your heart?
Yes, heart. You heard me, heart. My head said believe. My heart said no. My head said obey. My heart said no. That's where you made your mistake, you devil. You didn't start in young enough with me. For the heart that was born inside of me has brought you here to die.
I don't understand.
Wait, I'll turn a little more oxygen on. That'll give me a little more strength to keep on telling you your whys and cut the breath left for you after I'm finished. What was I saying? Yes, that you didn't condition me quite well enough. Should have started with the embryo, for somewhere along the line a little humanity got inside of me that cried out against what you were doing. It grew and grew until it said you had to die. And you will die. Yes, here in the black under the sea. And they won't roll drums for you, march for you. End it here. What have you to say to that?
You
Fool? Is that all you answer?
Yes, fool.
You think I'm a fool to die here with you? You call me a fool when I know that ending here I give a new beginning to those up there.
Yes, such a fool.
Well, stop saying that. They won't say it back in the cities when they know that they're free.
You fool. You think the freeing them of me will make them free?
Yes, of course it will.
I call you fool again. How do you think I became the head of the state? Through my great wisdom? I'm really not so wise. Through my great courage? No man has courage of that sort to stand up single-handed against the bullets and the bayonets of the entrenched powers. And how? How did I do it?
With lies and ruthlessness and cruelty, I know.
You don't know a thing. You saw the end result surrounded by pomp and circumstance, and you couldn't see the means. All right, I know I'm going to die. When a man is expected to die as long as I have, the actuality isn't quite as frightening as you might think. Since I am going to die, I'll have the one small satisfaction of showing you that you're an empty-headed fool.
Stop saying that.
Oh, you too have an ego. Apparently it's lived for weeks on how you'd make me plead and beg and squirm down on my knees. I had a few moments of hysteria, didn't I? You like that. You don't like this. My sitting in the dark so calmly telling you that you're a fool.
I haven't failed. You're here.
You failed because if you're killing me and yourself to give them back their freedom, whatever that word means, you're dying quite in vain.
You're saying that because you think...
No, don't talk. Listen to me. I'll tell you where you failed. I came into power not alone through my own strength, but because the conditions of our country were such that other men sitting on their wealth came to the decision that I alone could keep them there.
But it was you...
I tell you, listen. When an ancient rule of privilege is threatened, it seeks to live no matter what the cost. The cost to them was me, and they found me worth it. For I threw to the mass none of the wealth I'd worked to build, but only fighting phrases of prejudice and hate that cost the men who made me nothing but the rent of the halls for the simple to hear my opiates. And so I call you fool. Fool to die and fool to kill me. Well, the conditions that made me will still exist when I'm dead. You free them of me. But what of hunger? What of ruthless exploitation? These will still be free up there to put hate and desperation into men. And so the ones who gave me power will find a new leader to stop the rumblings of rebellion with all the tricks that I taught them. A new leader. You hear me, fool? A new leader.
No, it isn't true. It can't be true.
It's so dark. If I could see your face to see the fool discovering he's a fool.
They will be free. They will.
What magic do you think will come into the air when I'm dead? Will men forget their greed and say, oh, we've quite enough. That's enough for everyone. Let each share according to his needs. No, fool. With me or without me, the game will be played just as it always has been played. So you're a fool and die like one.
Well, what could I have done? I had to do something.
I'll tell you what you could have done. You could have done the one thing that would have in time helped destroy not only me, but those who made me. You could have gone to the people.
What?
Yes, walked among them, worked among them. And at every chance whispered to them the things I kept from them. The noose would have been around your neck every time you opened up your mouth. And yet, in that talking of liberty and freedom and common decency and all the rest of that sort of thing, there'd have been far more meaning in this futile murdering of me. I've had them hunted down and shot, each of those who dared to whisper among the people. But as they died, I didn't call them fools, because I knew that they were wise. That only through the will to live and do of the great bludgeoning mass of their people was their hope of making that new world they wanted. Oh, why have I bothered talking? The air's thick. I'm tired. Hand me something heavy, fool.
Why?
Why? More explanations? All right, the last one. You think I'm going to sit here and wait and count my every breath until the dark's crawling with horrors and I'm No. I'll end it now, quickly. Yes, faster than a bullet shot. Give me something heavy, I tell you. I'll smash the glass. The water, tons of it, smashing in. I'll be dead, faster than the thought and never ended. Give me something to smash the glass or I'll...
There, sir? All well down there, sir?
Voice. Telephone.
All well. Take us up.
We're moving. There's water on the glass. We're moving. Doctor, the cable.
I lied.
But all this time, why?
My orders to the crew were to leave us alone on the bottom as soon as the slackening of the wire showed them we'd hit the bottom.
Telephone.
I reconnected it while you talked.
Then, you didn't really mean to kill me.
Kill you? Yes, I meant to kill you. had it all planned out. Tell you what I told you, and then you'd go quite crazy with fear. And after that, I'd kill you.
2,900 feet. All well down there, sir?
All well.
And yet you didn't.
The lights of the creatures out there. Blinking of stars on a cold night.
Why didn't you kill me? I want to know.
What would have been the good of it? A fool and a figurehead die together. No good of it.
So you believed me?
Even a fool can understand futility.
The water's getting lighter. Soon we'll be back. Up there. It'll be very strange at first.
I don't much care now, yet I'll ask. What happens to me?
You? I told you many things down there, didn't I? Yes, too many things. A man, in doubt as I was, talks too much. And since you of necessity heard what I said, when we get there, I will probably have you shot. The victim sentences his murderer. It will be most amusing.
That was Bathysphere from Lights Out here on the Mysterious Old Radio Listening Society podcast. Once again, I'm Eric.
I'm Tim.
And I'm Joshua.
Our Patreon supporter, Mark, requested that we analyze and listen to this particular episode, and thank you so much.
Probe.
Yeah, I see what you did there. We're going to deeply probe. So thanks, Mark. We appreciate you being a Patreon, and I will go as far as just start this conversation. Thanks, Mark. I really deeply appreciate you giving us this episode. This has all the earmarks of, Eric will hate this.
Yep.
And I loved it.
Oh, yeah, because when ersatz Hitler said, "Oh, philosophy under the sea," I was like, oh boy, Eric's gonna white knuckle this, because that's kind of what this whole episode is.
If I had listened to this 5 years ago, I'd boring. But I just recently came to some kind of philosophical realization, and nothing grand or anything nobody else has come up with, but just an acceptance of something of this nature. Yeah, it really doesn't matter, does it? This is the cyclical nature of humans. And no matter what, rich people rise to the top and poop on everybody else. That's kind of what humanity is. And then...
Can't we go with the arc of history as long as it tends towards justice? You know, go with that one?
It's just blatantly false, but we can go with it.
But then I listen to this and I go, well, there it is. That's what I've been feeling lately. Like, we're not in control of anything.
Although I would caution, because propaganda doesn't stand the test of time, and that it is written specifically for its moment. And I tend to think that history, as the saying goes, doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes, or it improvises off the same stupid audience suggestion or some variation on that.
There's the nihilism I can't take.
Pineapple!
But no, because I think it's always dangerous, no matter what your politics, to label some current evil as evil thing X from the past, because that makes it an easy criticism to dismiss, because it is empirically not of the past. It is of this moment in some special way, while still recognizing that there are echoes of this.
I agree 1,000% with that. I think, though, that this just resonated with me because I've come to this place which is not healthy of, what does it matter? And then I listen to this and I go, and I agree, echoes, not specifically. And yes, accountability is absolutely imperative. I just don't think I'm the guy that's going to hold anybody accountable.
Well, also when the solution is presented as bring the truth to the people, we are also in a moment where like, oh yeah, yay populism. Oh no, demagoguery. So it just doesn't map perfectly, but absolutely, it feels more.
Don't know that
current.
it mapped perfectly at the time either.
No, because he had a very specific agenda here, he being Arch Obler, and that was to fight isolationism.
Yes.
He wanted America to get involved in the war.
Yeah, he was, if you're new to the podcast or unaware, Willis Cooper was very patriotic.
Arch Obler, sorry.
Arch, yeah.
Yeah, Willis Cooper was like a terrorist. He hated the country.
Arch Obler was very patriotic and did a lot of propaganda type work, very supportive of troops and the government and the war. Strong.
What was going on in Europe was dire and needed to be intervened as opposed to the isolationists, which was another popular movement in America.
Mm-hmm.
But patriotism changes in each moment.
Sure.
So when he's writing this, for a lot of people, this is controversial.
Right.
Which is why he disguised Hitler and made him sound like Ronald Coleman.
Can I say this also, that no matter where you side politically, it doesn't matter for what I'm about to say. It doesn't. But if someone is in charge either of your community board or your local representatives or at the national level, or someone is doing something you feel is really, really wrong, the fantasy is if I could only get them in a tiny little room and just talk to them and say, what are you doing? And no one can come in and stop me. And if I wanted to, maybe I could cuff them in the head a few times.
Right. If I could exert my own personal power over this person who has so much power over me.
Yes, exactly. And that fantasy, I think that's pretty
a very broad theme that applies to a lot of situations.
But I think we all do it. Like, oh God, what if I could just get so-and-so in a room for 10 minutes and just say, please listen to me. And so I find this very powerful because of that, because I think it plays into that idea that, and also kind of relieving. Oh, I'm not the only one having those crazy thoughts of, dear powers that be, could I just have so-and-so in a room for 10 minutes? And I think that this story exposes that we all have that. So I think it plays into that desire for us all to have that moment with people we disagree with or that we feel are wronging.
Have the agency to express ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So, going back to what I said at the top, there's nothing about this I should like, but it's coming to me at a really good time for me to listen to this. And I thought it was really expertly done. I like the conversation and I like the back and forth and the philosophy discussion. And the ticking clock is in this.
The all's well.
Yeah. And it was really quite lovely.
Yeah. I had that in my notes too. It's a great narrative device.
Yes.
Because it should be reassuring. Like,
right.
Yeah, it's a milestone of each time. Like, it's not as all well as it was. It's
and pretty soon you feel like Ronald Coleman Hitler. You're like, shut up.
Right.
Because it's nerve-wracking to be asked if you're okay constantly, because it implies at any moment you won't be.
Yes. And in a story like this, when you're listening to it, that's what you, the listener, are assuming, that device is there to set you up for the failure of what's coming.
Are you guys okay?
All's well down here.
I assume the only question in what my response can be is, does Tim consider Bathysphere a submarine?
Yes.
Totally. Close enough. Yes. I love this.
Let me ask you two things. One, is all okay down there? And two...
I mean, down there, it's fine. Why are you asking?
Well, you've just reached an age where
I suppose
we have to check every so often, and so should you.
That's why I'm glad there's a table.
Check. Yeah, I'm good.
Theater of the mind.
It sounds horrifying to get in one of these things. That sounds terrible. When we're reading about what the bathysphere is and who invented it and the submersible and quartz windows and just drop into the floor. Would you get in one?
Sure.
Oh my God, I would not. I would not get in this thing. Nope.
I mean, I love the detail, too, of like, the only way to make this really safe is we have to hammer the bolts shut.
Right. It's a great use of sound, and it's so ominous.
Mhm.
It's like you're being nailed into a coffin.
Yep. So you didn't answer the question. Would you get in one of these things?
I think it's hard to decide now because it wouldn't be cutting edge technology.
Come outside. We've got a bathysphere
Yeah.
over here on.
Yeah, if it was like, getting my space ball and go into orbit.
Yeah. We're going to go deep into the ocean with creatures nobody has ever seen before. So that's a different ask, I think, than today.
To pivot, that's a note that many things I loved in the script of how El Presidente expresses his horribleness, that he keeps talking about, like, to see a world no one's ever seen before. So when you've been down here before, did you see something like this? Like, yeah, I see this all the time.
Yeah, and when he's down there, he has no interest in the world around him. It's just that he's been there. Because, right, he says, I have no interest in these fish.
Right, and he wants the credit for being the person who went the deepest.
Yeah, and as soon as he goes the deepest, he's like, get me out of here.
Right. Which is more information about who he is and what kind of person he is.
And, I mean, that with the rhythmic, how amusing, is so subtle characterization for Arch Obler. Kudos to Arch Obler for only gently tapping me on the head with this information.
Yeah, well, I think he felt he had to put a veneer of plausible deniability over the top of it.
All well down there?
Yeah.
I wasn't quite clear if they gave us the motivation why this leader of some nation is it his hobby? Is it like watching some of our presidents golf? This guy's a bathysphere guy. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I posit. I don't know that I really have evidence for this, but the idea is this is a character who has achieved, legitimately or whatever. He is running out of things to be best at.
Are you extrapolating that? Or is that said?
No, it's not said.
Okay.
Just in the characterization of people like this, of like I can give myself a trophy for anything. That he's looking for, this is a legitimate accomplishment I can say I did that doesn't have the just handing myself a trophy feel to it.
The character also wants to continually emphasize with his catchphrase,
true,
so amusing. It'll be amusing that these accomplishments are important to his ego, but he must present them as they're nothing. It's merely an amusement.
Yeah.
I thought it was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It reminded me that, that I want to put another trophy on my mantle, so to speak, of my greatness. Reminds me of that story, all the things that the North Korean leader,
Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, there was a whole thing about all these things he put out there, that the round of golf where he had 9 holes in one.
Yeah.
All that stuff. He just says it.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the echoes,
right,
to our current moment. This
right.
sort of bragging about every tiny accomplishment.
Yeah.
And another one that I found interesting was Obler framing this pseudo-Hitler's philosophy about thinking versus feeling.
Yeah.
And I understand it in the context of Obler is saying that he uses, emotional rhetoric for people to feel instead of think. And it's sort of interesting because that's something in the political sphere. I am more a pox on both houses, on all the houses, little independent houses. A pox on the entire monopoly board. But that is something that I think every politician of every stripe uses hard these days, is emotion. Don't think, just feel your way all the way to the voting booth and vote. And I thought it was a nice literary touch to then connect that to Shakespeare.
Yeah.
When he talks about, he almost quotes the beware of the people with the lean and hungry look.
Right.
From Caesar. The next line in that monologue is that they're dangerous because they think too much.
Well,
it
is what all government is based on. It's the entire premise of it. Don't think too much. If you keep them a roof over their heads and keep them fed, You have absolute power. Quell the masses.
I honestly don't know how I feel about the ultimate resolution of this.
Okay, thank you. That's where I wanted to go next with this.
I loved it. But go ahead.
Because by the time it gets down there and the doctor just reveals, like, I've trapped us down here. I was so excited and so happy that, like, this horrific twist that this mild-mannered, meek guy has gone to the metaphorical underworld, literal underworld, and up is down and down is up, and all of that. And I liked the back and forth banter of, okay, now we're two guys down here just fighting over who's in charge of this apparently hopeless situation.
Right.
And when it turned out that that was just a brief illusion that they are going back up, it felt like a sort of ultimate failure for the doctor that, I mean, he got the tiny little victory of, like, okay, I made this guy cry and beg for a second. But then he's not going to survive. He's not going to be a martyr. It was just a powerful couple of minutes impact that will be forgotten.
Yep. I think narratively, it's really disappointing, but I think that's what makes it brilliant propaganda because Obler, I felt intentionally says to the listeners, you need to act.
Right.
This guy failed, and I'm not going to give you this happy ending. Like
the ultimate response to that fantasy of, like, if I could just get in this room with this guy, nothing would change.
He does not want your fantasy fulfilled there. He wants you to act.
And beware that you might think, oh, we've had a breakthrough moment and we've had a nice discussion, that they're lying to you. Don't trust Hitler Ronald Coleman.
That clears it up.
Yeah.
That goes without saying.
But I think that's the point of it is you may think that some kind of rational diplomacy and logic and appeal to empathy and you might get the answers that you want to your face, but it's a lie. That's what I took from it. And so at no point should we ever trust anything Hitler Ronald Coleman says.
It's not a personality conflict. It's never like my ego versus this person's ego is going to resolve the problem.
Right. And that human beings can never agree on anything, so call it a day.
I think they can.
You walked right into that. But yeah, I mean, it's a brilliant twist in here to have the Hitler figure speak what Obler wants the listener to hear, which is, you can assassinate me, but the people have to act. You know,
Captain Hitler Jr. is right behind me.
Yeah. So unless you are all willing to fight this fight to the bitter end, this isn't going to work. That totally surprised me in the moment. I was really.
It seems so not Arch Obler.
Yeah. It's subtle.
Right. Right.
Feed him to piranhas. That's what we like.
There is another element to this story other than the philosophy and politics and everything we've discussed, and that is the tension, suspense, and the mortifying feeling of being trapped in this ball that is you're going to run out of oxygen and die. That's also in here that was weighing on me while I'm listening to him, like, oh, and there's also that going on.
Oh, yeah, because there's that nice
moment
when the doctor says, oh, here, I'll just go through more
oxygen so
we can have this philosophical debate and die that much sooner. And just a nice, subtle hiss of the oxygen, and you can just hear their life shortening.
Yep.
Foreshadowed, like Arch Obler subtly foreshadowed, like, when we reach the bottom, we can have a discussion about life and death.
Yep.
I don't mean to damn Arch Obler with faint praise, but it's not his forte, and it's really good here.
Yes.
Yeah, and perhaps this should remind us that most of the time Arch Obler isn't trying to be subtle. He's trying to just scare our pants off.
Right.
Everyone okay down there? But here's what I thought Eric would hate. I'm so glad that you enjoyed this, but I thought you would be quite distressed by breaking the Chekhov sea monster rule by showing this giant creature outside of the bathysphere and then never going back.
That's a really good point. You know you've got something. You've got me lured into what you're doing when I, until this very moment, forgot about the giant creature outside. I totally forgot that happened. And you're right.
Because literally, we listen to other things and you're like, it would have been better with a dinosaur.
Well, come on. In all fairness, I'm right.
Except the one Arch Oboler with the dinosaur you hated.
Yeah, it was
Sub-basement.
Sub-basement was, oh my God. But I totally forgot that happened, and I didn't go, well, go back out to the deep sea creature. I wanted to hear more of that debate. Again, I think it's because where I'm at mentally right now in my life. That's why this hit.
Well, it's like the lack of curiosity in the leader figure just sort of it sweeps the narrative along with it of like, I don't care about that.
So what do you think was the purpose of that? Because this is too well written to be like, oh, I forgot there was a sea monster.
I think narratively it adds to the just atmosphere of surrounded by deadliness.
Dark.
Yeah.
Unknown.
Like there's the pressure, there's the drowning, and then there's monsters, and it's just inches away from you. And then metaphorically, I would say it is representative of the great mass of population out there that is a true threat to this guy that he doesn't want to look at. Although he apparently knows about it at the bottom.
That's a good take on it. I read it a totally different way, which means it's a great subtle thing that he put in here. Arch. But I think you can also read the bathysphere itself as isolationism and willingly living in the dark and this growing thing out there as the Nazi
that you're ignoring.
threat. Yeah, that you are ignoring. But it works both ways. That also made me think of Leviathan from Bible stories. Particularly, I was thinking at the end of Job, Leviathan is voiced as representing, the power of God's creation. And here you do have this same idea, which is a little like your power to the people, where this evil dictator is reduced in comparison to the power of creation that he's uninterested in, and the fish in the world. And by comparison, he's small and helpless. And it feeds into the whole theme of that he is, and that's his defense ultimately, just one small man. And you kill him and more people just fill in.
I didn't think of any of that.
I wonder if the sea monster gets his own spin-off series.
I just heard the word Leviathan for the first time in my life.
This is yet another great and powerful sort of story of our shared humanity that has been ruined for me by the series Supernatural.
Right. I did picture how many.
You think it's a reference to Supernatural?
I think it might be, yes.
Did you picture the painted picture in your head? Was it Nessie? Because for me, it was Nessie. What I think Nessie looks like, the Loch Ness Monster.
I have seen
We're on first name
so
basis.
many illustrations of gigantic monsters underwater. It's like every day I'm looking at paintings of these tremendous creatures underwater.
The hell is going on in your life, Tim?
It's not all okay down there.
All right. We should vote before we make any more down there jokes.
You okay down there? I am damn near close to calling this a classic. I think it's really well written, and I think it's very subtle and powerful and interesting, and I really liked it. I will say this, it was a shocking twist for a Lights Out episode. Like, I didn't expect that. I will say it's really, really good, and stands the test of time, for sure, right? There's that. And historically interesting. What do we say historically? Significant. Interesting. Same word. Shut up.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I have said before that I think Arch Oboler is a great writer of propaganda. But as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, I do think that is the hitch with propaganda, is that it is written for its moment. That is its job, is to speak to now. And so I think it sometimes struggles to stand the test of time. And I think this does, because one of the reasons Oboler is a great writer of this kind of stuff is that he never lets the message he's trying to get forward overwhelm his own personal voice as a storyteller. So his propaganda stuff is as weird and idiosyncratic as his just straightforward horror stories. So they're unique even outside of their time. And then if it happens to resonate with your moment, it comes back again. But yeah, I think this definitely ironically stands the test of time. And it's definitely a classic of old time radio propaganda.
I just wanted to say, I vote, no. Arch Obler has certainly written a number of things that are just landmark episodes of old time radio, groundbreaking and amazing, and no one else probably could have done them. That being said, I think this is my favorite Arch Obler script.
Wow.
It's not the one that is most Arch Oblerist.
No,
that's a hard word.
Cat Hitler, which he wrote the following year,
where Cat Hitler turns inside out. So yes, I will call this a classic, and I think this is, of everything I've heard of his finest work to me. It really does the job, and it doesn't hurt that it's in a bathysphere.
Nice. Tell him more stuff, Tim.
Sure. Hey, go visit ghoulishdelights.com. That is the home of this podcast, where you yourself can see how things are going down there. You can leave comments, you can vote in polls, let us know what you think about these episodes, and you'll also find other things to learn about our history. You can, not Mysterious Old Radio Listening Society history, not like our collective history. It's not that kind of website. You can also find a link to our store, buy some swag, and a link to our Patreon page.
Yes, go to patreon.com/themorals and support this podcast. We need some propaganda for supporting the podcast.
It fights fascism.
We'll put you in a bathysphere if you don't.
Or a shower sphere.
Oh, man, we got to get back to the down there jokes. Oh, man, the signal man's never going to be the same again now, though. Hello down there! Anyway, go to patreon.com/themorals, and please, as you can hear, we need your support.
The Mysterious Old Radio Listening Society Theater Company also performs every month, sometimes more than once a month. Somewhere we are performing, and you can find out where we're performing. Live radio on-stage recreations of classic radio plays, and also a lot of our own original work. Just go to ghoulishdelights.com and see where we're performing, what we're performing, and how to get tickets. And if you can't make a particular show, you can listen to it if you're a Patreon, because we supply the audio to our Patreons. And we'd love to see you. And almost everywhere, I have to be careful because I never, we've been all over. Usually it's really good food, so make a night out of it. Make a night out of it. Yeah, what's coming up next?
Next is your choice.
Oh, right. So we're going to delve into Candy Matson, and we're going to do Candy's Last Case. Until then...
Look out! After terrifying listeners for more than a year, Willis... It's already in the bloopers. It's already there.